What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is Growing Upstairs with your host, Holden, and
Gramps.
Because Noah's not here this week. What's going on, Gramps? Welcome in.
Man, what is not going on this week?
You ain't lying.
It has been a busy week.
It's been busy. It's been fun. It's been productive.
Right.
I don't know of any other great adjectives to use to put in place for it.
Awesome, I guess, with the youth tonight.
Yes, it has. You guys, this is Growing Upstairs with your host, Noah and Holden. Like I said, Holden, or Noah. My goodness, I've got my name. It's the week that it's been, Gramps.
That's right.
Noah is, he is out on work this week. He is at banking school or class or whatever it is. We'll ask him more about it. Maybe in a minute we might call him and just see how his week's going.
There you go.
But Noah's out this week, but I got Gramps in here with us. So we're going to keep this thing rolling.
Trying to fill in so it can keep going.
That's right. Next week, we're going to start having a few guests on, some of our youth that have expressed interest. So you guys that are listening, make sure you guys are telling your friends about it. If they want to get on, make sure you go to Instagram. That's the plug, at Growing Upstairs, and fill out the little form that we've got there for you guys. If you guys are interested in joining the show, we'd be glad to have you guys. And we try to keep it light and have fun up here. Right. And also learn a little bit about God, because the entire purpose of this show is growing with God together, talking about Jesus, life, and music. We've kind of been off topic of music lately. We really hadn't talked much about it because last week was awesome, having all of us leaders, Wednesday night leaders in here.
Right.
We need to get up with the Sunday morning leaders and tell them, hey, y'all got to come on too now.
That's right. They got to have their time, their part.
That's right. Meet us up here on a Wednesday and let's go through it. But anyways, well, I'll let you answer this question first. How has life been this week?
Life this week has been busy, and it's been fun, and it's been tiring. Of course, we've been expanding, growing in the upstairs physically, our numbers, and our room was pretty big, but we had about busted the seams on that. It was still manageable, but we were on each other. I don't know how you would describe it. We were just packed in.
It was packed,
and we had some extra classrooms to the side of us that we knocked out the walls this week. We started
Saturday.
I started Friday painting the ceiling from where we'd taken the old ceiling down. Yeah. You came Saturday and helped.
That's when we started with the first wall. That's right.
And then Monday night we were here till 11:30. Thanks for Lori's dad, Randy, coming and helping us. We took out the rest of the walls Monday night.
Shout out Randy.
There you go. And then all day Tuesday and most of the day today, we just did get it in just before youth tonight to have it all done. So they went from Sunday one room to Wednesday night another. Yeah. So, and it was good to see how excited they were tonight coming in, knowing they could just grow some more and expand a little bit and not be so tight. I
think some of them kind of caught wind of, okay, something's going on up there. But with any kind of construction or project, it's not something that's done in 2 or 3 days. No. And by the grace of God, we were able to kind of push through and do it. And Monday night was fun.
Some of that was great, but now we're tired.
Yes. Monday was, for you guys that are listening, that are in our youth group, Monday, to let you know how much your leaders enjoy you guys being here and want you guys to be comfortable and be happy where you are. 11:30 is when we got finished. I went to sleep at about 1:15. And by the time I got home, took a shower, all that good stuff.
I guess for anybody else listening, we do need them to understand this was concrete walls.
Cinder block walls.
Some of it was filled with concrete, so it was not the easiest of tasks.
Yeah, we found a couple of gifts that whoever built this building back in the day left in the concrete too. That was pretty wild and kind of funny. But it has been tiring, but a blessing to look at it and go, the reason that we're having to do this is because we're growing upstairs.
Right.
Literally, there was a week where we had so many kids that they're sitting on the floor. And then the following week, that same amount are there, and we got as many chairs from downstairs as we could. But, I mean, you couldn't walk through everybody. You couldn't go to one side or the other and comfortably have a path out through it.
And I don't think that bothered me as bad as with the kids there. It was kind of fun. You walk by them and talk, even though you couldn't hardly walk by. But I think what was more frustrating with me was when everybody was gone, I was trying to go in there and do something. You couldn't move for chairs, but We spread out a little bit. Still got a little ways to go, but it's coming along. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, there's more projects to come. There's more fun to be had.
That's right.
In the process of doing it. Definitely not finished, but it's a start. And I think, like you said, it's really exciting for everybody who came tonight, and for you guys who hadn't made it tonight. We look forward to seeing you guys next week or whenever you guys can get back and see it with us, because pictures are one thing, and some of the pictures that we even took and we talked about before doing it, it was like, you kind of envision it.
That's right.
But then when it was done and seeing it in person, it's like, oh, that's – because even when we got the wall out, it was like, okay, I can kind of see it, but when you go in there where the couches and everything are moved and everything's kind of not in its place, but in a place to where it was so odd tonight, because it was like all the couches are full, but it's spaced out. Nobody's crammed, together, which was awesome.
And I think, like you said, I think hopefully they understand we love them that much, because we probably packed in about a month's worth of work in 3 days.
Yes.
So, it's been.
Yeah, like I said, normally it's something like that.
Project.
Something like that's going to take time.
Of course, I hate to admit it, I'm getting old enough. Probably my last one of that quick of a turnaround, because I don't think I can do this very much more.
I also think the only reason it was that way was because you're about to have your vacation time for a couple of weeks. So it was like we got to get this done before Gramps leaves. That way, at least we're done with it and
ready to go.
Not halfway through it. Not that we couldn't have done it without you, but it's still, you still want to have that supervision.
I have to say, I'm glad we did that, because now I think I'm going to enjoy just being off, just resting a little bit more, because I am wore out tonight.
I agree. I can agree with that. I still don't understand. When I went home Monday night, I crashed, but I don't know how you're not able to sleep. Maybe it's just excitement in you and you don't realize it. You're just like,
so. And I think I knew there was still more stuff to do, and I had to keep going because, like we said, we wanted them to have been here Sunday in their old room, and then we were working hard to just have, without them seeing all the mess and going through it, that all of a sudden Wednesday night they come in, they're like, wow, what happened?
And not unfortunately, but like for me and the other leaders, we have jobs that, we're having to do other stuff throughout the days.
I have a job.
No, I understand that. But you're
that
here.
That is part of my job.
Yeah, you're here. So you do what you have to do beforehand, but then you have time where you can kind of get into it. Whereas we're all having to do other stuff throughout the day, but it's awesome. It's exciting. We're going to see over the next couple of weeks after you get out how things move along, and we start kind of finishing that project up, but it's really exciting. But Gramps, I'm glad to have you here. I appreciate you taking time out of your tiredness and doing this with me.
Well, you do know we're not finished. No. When we get through this, we got a little bit more to do tonight. That's right. So let's speed this process. All right. As I do every week, I've got some pretty fun questions to ask you. And I did the same thing this week that I did last week, is I did not answer these questions beforehand. So you get my random driving around questions that I came up with. Thoughts and questions of Holden on the tractor. It can get pretty interesting. Couple of these I looked up, but a couple of these I was like, no, this is just something that I think would be funny. And I wasn't sure exactly this week. Last week was spontaneous to have all of us on, so I was like, who knows what happens this week? We might have a room full of people in here. Could be. So, but anyways, all right. First question, starting topic here. If you could be famous for inventing something, what would it be? An air-conditioned suit. Okay. The reason I say that is because preacher sometimes I'm in a suit. I work also with the funeral home some, so it's hot out there some days. Summertime, we just need heat. Something that would just. That's pretty good. We got air conditioned seats in our vehicles now. Maybe not just a suit, but some kind of, especially for us in South Georgia, some way to. I like that. I've seen where they've got some jackets now. You can. I know the warming ones. You can click the button and it warms you. Yeah. I wonder if they have them where you can click the button and it like cools you like that, kind of the same way that it does the seat. This is kind of a random one, but I think if I could invent something, I've got two. One would be, I don't remember what movie it is. I remember watching as a kid, but they put like a bag in what looks like a microwave, and they click a button for whatever it is they want to cook, and boom, like instantly. Yeah. Not in 10 minutes, not 15. I will go with you with that one. It's like you click a button, boom, whatever it is you want to cook is ready. because it's just me at the house, so it's fast food or I'm just not cooking.
How about fast food at your house where you just put it in a machine with a bag and whatever
like
you want
said, you can pop out fried chicken and mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yeah, it's not like just to put it in there and you got a Hot Pocket, because you can do that now. We're talking about like a true meal or something like that. So that's the first. The second one would be being like, I love road trips sometimes. But to me, the trip to somewhere, fun, exciting, all that. But the trip home, not. The vacation's over, the camp is over, the trip is over. Now it's back to reality.
Get me home.
I want to have the ability. The road trip I enjoy there, but just give me a button to click and boom, I'm home.
Be a pretty cool one too.
And you don't have to. it's teleportation. I guess is just what it would be. Because again, I like the road trip aspect of going, but that coming back is miserable.
I agree.
To me, anyway.
So usually because you're tired after the trip, and that drive is terrible.
Yeah, I had that a couple of years ago. We went down to Disney World, and I got COVID the last day we were there.
Oh, no.
So going down, you're excited. It's like, oh yeah, we're going down. Except for when you get to the turnpike right there north of Orlando and all, it's brutal.
Yeah, I've got to where I avoid that.
So the last day, it's like, all right, we got one day left. I wake up and I was like, no. My last day has already happened, and I didn't even realize it. When I woke up, I was really sick, and I was like, okay, this stinks. So I had to stay in the bed all day, and then the next morning I got up, and I still didn't feel great, but I was like, today we're going home. I'm driving us home. Let's go. And we got in the car, and I had to have averaged 85 the whole way home.
Yeah,
because I was like, I'm ready to get home. And then we get home, and a couple of days later, my wife, she gets sick too. It just kind of spread. All right, next question. What is your biggest pet peeve?
People pulling out in front of me and then just going really, really slow and turning in about half a block.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
I mean, come on. You couldn't wait 2 seconds for me to get on by.
The worst is when you're sitting there and like somebody pulls out in front of you and there's nobody behind you. Nobody for miles. And it's like you couldn't have waited 10 seconds.
Right, exactly.
It would be something if it's like it's pretty busy. Okay, they had to pull out. But no, this is you could have waited.
The other night I was coming home from visiting my parents, and I got to a road and a car just came sailing up, ran through the stop sign, swung out in front of me real quick, and literally went 2 houses and then hit the brakes and slowly turned into their driveway. So I had to do all this stopping for.
Yeah, that's
2 seconds they could have waited.
That's a pretty tough one. I'll be honest with you. I don't really know what my biggest pet peeves are. I don't feel like I have a lot. I have one
well, I got another one too.
Go ahead.
I guess
it might spark some ideas for me.
We got a dumpster, of course, here at the church because we have a lot of stuff. But right now, the door to it has fallen out, and the folks that drive the truck come and lift it and empty it and set
it right back on top
right
of it.
Back down on the door that's out. Come on, fix it.
Yeah, that's pretty aggravating. I can't think of a pet peeve right off the top of my head. That I have one with my dog where it's like she'll walk outside and I really want her to go to the bathroom. Like if I'm in a hurry or something, even if I'm not, it's like, all right, let's go to the bathroom. Let's come. Right. And she'll sniff around for 15 minutes before she ever goes and does something. I'm like, come on. I don't want to stand here with you all day, but she gets to run around in the house. So It's not like she's not closed up, she's able to run around. So for anybody listening that they're like, let your dog out and let her enjoy outside. It's like, she does to an extent, but if you leave her outside too long, unmonitored, she gone. She won't come back for 4 hours. And that happened a couple of weekends ago. Somehow she had gone out the back door and I was like, where's she at? Looking in the house. And finally I was like, she went outside and I didn't see her for 4 hours. I just left the door cracked open and she kind of came slowly creeping back in.
Decided to take her a little afternoon stroll.
She did that.
Enjoy the day.
She did that. I guess that made up for all the times. All right. Do you have trouble getting rid of things?
No.
You don't?
No, I'm that OCD. I'm organized. Usually I go through my house if it's not been used in most people say a year, but mine probably can be less than that. If I haven't used it in a while, it's out. Yeah. Just chunk it.
I need to do better at that because there are times, like especially when I was younger, I kept like schoolwork for years after. And I'm like, why? Why do I have this? What is the purpose of this at all? So much so the color of the paper changed. It turned to like that tan color instead of being white paper anymore.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll keep stuff for a while, and I'll think I'm going to keep this and use it. And then one day I'll get in there and I'll just get looking and needing the space. And I'm like, oh, never mind. This has got to go.
That's the hardest part for me. I have multiple like containers. Like I try to be organized. I have containers that have a bunch of wires and stuff in them for stuff like this, because I know as soon as I throw this wire away, I'm going to need it like within a short amount of time. And that's happened before where I'll throw something away and I'm like, I wish I'd have kept it. I could use it right now. Or I'll have like 10 of one thing and I'm like, you never know, you might need 10, kind of like this. Wouldn't think I'd actually need all of these, but lo and behold, you end up needing all of them.
Right. Well, and I mean, like I said, I guess you have positives and negatives to that. I probably spend more money. I guess I could put on something else because I'll throw it out and buy it later if I need it again.
Yeah,
whereas some people will save it and then they got it, and I'm like, man, maybe I should do that, and so I won't.
I think that happens a lot with like decorations and with seasonal stuff. It's like fall for me is something I'll keep these decorations or something. We'll put them back out Christmas time. Christmas, I think, is the main one people keep. But then, like, the next year comes and most people are like, okay, yeah, let me just grab another one and do it like that.
But usually that's because we didn't put it up properly. It's all messed up now, so it's just like,
that's true. Especially Christmas stuff. Speaking of Christmas, you love Christmas time?
I do.
From really now to the end of the year, it's my favorite time of year. Fall and starting to get into winter. But a lot of it's because people start to tend to be like happier and more thankful.
Well, and generally we do get some cold weather finally for Christmas. Yeah. So it's that, the lights.
This week's been nice.
Just the decorations. It's just, like I said, decorate my home, and it's just nice to sit in there. I don't know, there's just I guess like you see the shows, it's just kind of this Christmas coziness. It's just,
yeah. We're in that,
kind of enjoy it.
We're in
it's
that
something
fall,
different for a while than your normal routine.
Oh, yeah. Because really, you think about it, there's these 3 months. You've got October where that fall kind of hits. Everything turns orange, yellow, that autumnish color, and everybody's enjoying that. And you get the smells of that. And then you get Thanksgiving. So then that fall again, you start, we've talked about Thanksgiving food, eating and everything. But then after it's full mode Christmas. And it's like, all right. Everybody's gifting, everybody's music, all of this stuff. But same thing, you get that pine scent, you get those decorations and everything. But when that ends, it's like, all right, the next 9 months
to reality.
You don't have any of that. You kind of get the little Easter stir in there, and then 4th of July, summertime comes around, and things do change then. But for the most part, these last 3 months of the year is where really everything kind of, to me, is one. It's some of the most important time, like family wise, but it's also just an enjoyable time. And like you said, it finally cools off.
That's right.
Because it was a hot summer, and this week has felt really good. All right, last question for you. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? And if you want me to, I'll go first. I do have this one. I love hot wings. Love them. Not like so hot melts your face off hot, but I love hot wings. And if I'm eating hot wings, I want French fries and ranch. The best is like Kibo's ranch, if you can find ranch that's like that. Not the Jell-O style that you dip it in and nothing's on your wing because it's like Jell-O. But like true that almost milky kind of ranch. But hot wings and French fries, I could do it. If that was all I had left, I'd be all right with that.
I don't know. I think that would be a hard one for me because I'm not really that particular. I mean, there's certain things I don't like, but I mean, majority of the time, like we did the other night when we was up here working, everybody deciding where to go, and I'm like, y'all just pick a place. I'll get something at it. So I don't really have anything. But when you say you can only eat that one thing, I don't know. I'll get on a roll and eat something for a while, like the Crustables, peanut butter and jelly kind of sandwich made. Get on those and be like, man, I like those every day. But then after a while, it's like, no, I want something different now.
Yeah, that's what makes it tough. But that's where you have to kind of nail it down, and you have to be like, okay, I really like this, and I can like it for a long period of time. Eventually, you're going to get tired of whatever it is. So you might as well get something that you really like.
And then I really like a steak and baked potato, but then I don't know what I want that for the rest of my life.
That's why, because I mean, I love spaghetti. I like pizza. Pizza's pretty good. I can think of a couple of other things that are good.
Let's just hope I don't ever have to have.
Oh yeah, I mean it's true. But I think if I had to,
I like all these things. So
yeah, for me it's hot wings. Maybe it's also just because it's football season, but I love them. I really think I could go all day. I guarantee
you that if that happened and tomorrow you knew all you could get was chicken wings and fries, it would probably be very quick that you'd be like, man, I wished I had something else.
Well, I mean, I think about that's what I kind of sit and think about.
This is it.
That's what I sit and think about, and it's like, I mean, I'm the same way. I could do steak and potatoes, but the only good thing, well, I mean, really wings and you get wings and potatoes too. So you got a meat and potatoes with it too, you know, because for me, I do like steak and steak fries.
But wouldn't that be like those things where, you know, as long as you can have it, you don't want it, but as soon as you know you can't have it, you want it. So like if all of a sudden chicken wings and French fries was all you could have, then you would want.
Yeah, I really want that cheeseburger. Yeah,
something. Then everything else different would come to your mind.
That's true. That's why it makes it a tough question. That's why I make it. You can't really pinpoint just one. What about like a dessert, like top notch dessert where it's like I could do this every day?
I'm a big ice cream person.
Oh, that's great. That's actually great. Because really,
I'll just sometimes ride by Dairy Queen and get even just a vanilla cone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
we
some ice cream.
We had that talk on here with Andrew and Hunter when they were on here. Mm-hmm. You know, favorite ice cream flavor, and I, as much as, I mean, it's plain is vanilla because you can put anything on it.
That's right.
And if vanilla was like a vanilla ice cream, if that was all you had, that's a great answer, because if that's all you had, my argument was I can put stuff on this. You know, so I can make it whatever I want. You didn't say I couldn't have a bunch of toppings. I can only have that ice cream, which is pretty good. Oh, ice cream, maybe that has to be the winner, really.
And I don't know that you don't want it as much in the winter, but like for us again, South Georgia heat, in the summer, you're
talking about the 3 weeks of true winter that you actually get, so it's not that bad. That's good on the.
I was saying that's right a lot. No, that's going to be interesting.
Okay. I was thinking before you said that was like strawberry shortcake. Because I love like that whipped cream and the strawberry and whatever else is in it. It's just good. Like a little bit of cake. It's really good. I've always liked that, especially like a homemade one that's made really good with fresh strawberries that you put in the fridge. That's really good. But ice cream may take the cake. No pun intended.
Over the years, I've gotten where like that strawberry trifle, which is like I said, the pound cake or the angel food cake
with the strawberries and all in it.
And whipped cream, and
that's kind of the same.
Yeah, the strawberry shortcake. I like that too.
And that ice cream, though, got me thinking. I know what Andrew would do right now if you asked him. He's headed to Dairy Queen.
That's right.
That dude loves Dairy Queen. That dude loves it. All right. So do you have any funny stories for us? Did you think of one as we were walking up earlier?
No, I don't guess I have any particular ones. I mean, I just think of all of our youth trips. There's some, it maybe not funny, but there's just stories all over the place. Every trip we take.
You can talk about them.
There's I've kind of caught up with them over the years, and like coming up to a stop sign, getting pretty much stopped, but then just kind of hitting the brakes pretty quick, the brake check, just to jar them a little bit. Had done that a few times. We was on a youth trip one time, and in traffic around Atlanta, I guess we was up closer to Gatlinburg at that time, and traffic just stopped on a dime, so I'm not doing a brake check, but it was a real
turned into a brake check. Yeah.
All these bottles on the bus come rolling down the aisle to the front of the bus with me, and then one of the kids got up to get right there to pick up one, and all of a sudden had another immediate brake check and rolled him up under the dash. So we all laughed about that one. Noah talked about the one where we got on the mountain and near about slid down it because it was that way.
That's crazy.
Last year we were in Gatlinburg, first time. We've been there while it was snowing. It started snowing when us going. Of course, nobody knows how to drive in snow now, so everybody slows down. So we were getting there later, and I finally got to the motel that night, and luckily we got everybody unloaded. But went to park the bus, and it started spinning and then slid, and a little piece of metal about an inch long caught a rock on the hotel landscaping. It's what held the bus from sliding down, taking out about 10 cars.
Thank goodness, man.
And you said funny, and that's not really funny, but then that's it.
It can be anything. It could be an awesome story. It doesn't have to just be funny.
Extreme winter every year, Dollywood, 32-degree weather, light mist, riding roller coasters. It's freezing, but we're having a blast.
Riding a roller coaster at 32.
Yes.
I can't imagine that coldness.
It was cold.
Oh my goodness! Thinking about that, like I like.
Which
I
you're
like
getting
the cold,
to where you go on some trips, but trust me, I've told them if you want some excitement, some fun, just get on a trip with us because something's gonna happen that's gonna be like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I'm fired up for Fuge next summer. It'll be fun. Lord willing.
We laugh about all those things, so yeah, there's always something going on.
And you get the planning. We'll have plenty of stuff to plan and kind of talk about, kind of like we did this week, where we were talking about been talking about purity this week.
That's right.
And that's what brings us to our next topic.
We fixing to raise the meter to Aquafina. I need her.
So now we're going to raise the meter a little bit like we do every week. Normally, I mean, me and Gramps are just tired. Normally right now is when me and Noah are doing kind of like a little old man dance in here. But me and Gramps are both just kind of like, woo.
Laid back in the chair.
We're
trying to stay awake.
We're kicked back in the podcast studio, just getting this content out to you guys. So tonight we talked about purity, and I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about it, however you want to talk about it, kind of how we led off with it.
Yeah, and I know I've listened to the podcast, but can't remember everything right now, but we're doing 1 Timothy 4:12.
That's right. That's still continuing our puzzled series. We only have 1 week left, which you're not going to be here for the final week, but only 1 week left of this series. It feels like it's flown by. Like it flew getting to this point, and as we started this with a small youth room, and now we have a much larger one by the finish of it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, we're growing.
I love it though. So I'll let you kind of take away.
We've been doing the 1 Timothy 4:12, and of course with the youth, be thou an example. Don't let anyone despise your youth, but be an example. And of course, we talked about that a little more tonight too. An example is, like a math teacher was giving you an example, it's showing you how it's supposed to be done. And so we're trying to learn in our Christian life how to grow and be an example. And we've done the speech and the conduct and the love. And tonight was purity. That can have to do with our relationships with other people. And of course, it talks about our relationships as far as life. But even tonight, looking at this study, kind of began to realize that with God, purity can mean also our heart. Yeah. And that's kind of where we went with it tonight, is that God, even in Matthew 5:8 said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And then with what we've been talking about with the love and the conduct and the speech, if you don't have that purity of heart in right relationship with God, then, your speech isn't going to be right. Yeah. Your conduct's not going to be good. Your love's not going to be what it should be. So, like tonight, we looked at couple of things, like if you had a cup dirty inside and out and you just clean the outside, you wouldn't drink out of it because it's still dirty on the inside. And our life can be like that. We can look good on the outside, but sometimes our motives and where we're at with God is not right on the inside. So we're still living that life of impurity. And then, of course, I'd also use the example of 2 crystal glasses with water in it, both pure. But if you took just a little bit of dirt and put in there, how quickly it can fog that up, and it's not as appealing and pleasing. And sometimes our lives can be that way with God too. Just a little bit of sin can mess us up.
Yeah, I love the analogy that you use too with the cups like that, where if you were to take, you clean the inside and the outside of it, but what you put in it, that was one big part to me, is like, if you're putting dirt in it,
true,
what do you expect to get out of it? Especially if it's a crystal clear cup like that. And for example, like you said, if it's crystal clear water in a crystal clear cup, it's pretty pure, right? But if you're putting what you put in it, it doesn't necessarily just have to be the outside of that cup. What goes into that cup is also, it's just like our lives. If you're pouring dirt into yourself, you're not going to be pure. And the big thing too, I think, is sometimes we have like a face about it where we're not a clear cup. We're a cup that you can't see what's inside, and the outside may look just as pure and clean as it can be, but what's on the inside is not. And that's the tougher part, I think, where you started to kind of dive deeper into and to be impure, like you said, in Christ, in Christ's image at the same time.
Well, even throughout the Bible, Christ often, as we shared tonight too, Christ often looked at the Pharisees, Sadducees, and they were trying to trip him up because he was changing their normal way of life and really messing up their game plan of how they were leading and well thought of, and they could kind of be dictatorial to the people they were leading as supposed Christians. But a lot of times it would say God did not commit himself to them because he knew their heart inside. They looked good on the outside. They were religious, but inside he knew they really weren't truly his servant or his follower and weren't living that life of purity.
Yeah. I think sometimes even in the church today, and as we talk about it with the youth, there are a lot of times that we live that way. And sometimes I don't think that even kids understand that that's the way that they're living. Sometimes is you feel like because I'm coming to church on Wednesday or because I'm coming to church on Sunday, that I'm doing everything that I need to do to be clean and to be pure and to be in Christ's image and love and in speech and all these things, and that I'm doing things the way that I should, where it's like you need to take that look inside. A few weeks back, Noah did it on Heart Check, where we were talking about that. And it's that, yes, the outward appearance is also one thing that also needs to be a clean appearance as well. But it's what's inside of us. And like I was saying, sometimes it's when you're with others, for sure, because like you said tonight, who are you around? Who are you talking to? Who are you listening to? What are you watching? All of these things go into effect of what is going inside of the glass. And if the things that you're watching are not good, if the things that you're listening to are not good, if the people that you're talking to or they are talking to you in a certain way are not good, that's all stuff that you're putting in your cup. Right. And that's a big thing to me, is to pay attention to that. It's sometimes you think it's just you. Well, sometimes it's what's around you too. If you're surrounding yourself with these cups that are not clean, and you bump into each other enough, you're going to have some non-cleanliness on you as well. And that starts to fill you as well.
Well, we may have mentioned the other week, but like I said, at one time I had growing up, had TV in my bedroom, little upstairs apartment kind of room at the house we were living in, and fall asleep with the TV on, and TV changes channel, late night TV, not some good things. And then, waking up during the day, having those thoughts come through and be like, whoa, where did this come from? Yeah. Well, even in sleep, it was what was being put in that
subconsciously
realized was all of a sudden coming out. So if that can happen subconscious, like you said, who are we hanging out with? What are they putting into us? And we have to even be careful with that.
Yeah. There have been times where I'll be listening to something or watching something and there's just kind of that brashness where all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that stands out, because we talked about seasons a minute ago. I love Christmas time, like so much so. Last year, I'm pretty sure we watched The Grinch before Halloween even hit. Oh. Like we'll start watching Christmas movies early.
Yeah.
And I love Home Alone because I've heard a lot of people make the argument it's not a Christmas movie, and then there's the other argument that it is. Well, I'll turn it on now. Like this morning I had it on just because I like the movie. And it really has nothing to do with Christmas if you think about it, But just watching it, it's like a fairly pure movie. There's some toughness in it too. You got guys that are essentially trying to take a kid out. But then I'll change it to something else, and all of a sudden it's dropping cuss words left and right. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's a big difference in what you're used to watching or what it is that you're used to listening to, especially like with I've got a 5-year-old. So we're watching cartoons and stuff. And when you hear the opposite of that, it gets your attention, even subconsciously like that, how it'll kind of, creep in and hearing it. That's also what you're putting in.
And then tonight we also talked about, like I said, use some examples to show that in the Bible of the pure heart or the impure heart, the rich young ruler, asking Jesus what he needed to do to be saved, but making the wrong decision in the end. His riches was more important than really God. So he really didn't live a life of the pure heart with God because he loved his riches more than he did than God. And then, of course, Saul of Tarsus, who became Paul the Apostle. His was, for a long time in his life, his impure heart was his religion. He was Jew of the Jews, Hebrew of the Hebrews, but he was persecuting true Christians, thinking he was a Christian with the Sadducees, Pharisees, Jewish nation, whoever he was, what all was going on in his life. And But he's a good example of once Christ got him, you could see the change in his heart.
Yeah.
His language, his conduct, his way of doing life drastically changed.
I kind of like looking at it in that way too, because I've been open about it on here. I'm not perfect, you know.
Oh, none of us are.
And exactly. And I think helping and becoming more involved with the youth has helped a lot in that way, to where I've really opened the word more. I've really taken that time to get along with God, and it's not bragging on me, because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not the one, you know, calling all the shots, but he gives us the opportunity to make time and make relationship with him, you know. And if you're not making that relationship with him, it's hard to keep that glass pure. It's hard to keep what's going into it pure. And we talked about that a little bit last week, and speaking on love, and like you said, with speech, and being pure in speech, being pure in love, being pure in your conduct and everything as well. All of these things stem back to that same part of being pure in this, in like your love, like we talked about, all of this to keep your glass clear and what's inside of it clear as well, being pure. But you have to work at that. It's not something that's just going to be simple and easy all the time, but you have to build that relationship in that same time.
Well, I'm glad we're doing this too. And like I said, I had great youth leaders coming up. Probably part of it was me and just where I was at in life. But I have seen a lot of youth groups over the years, and sometimes if we're not careful, we just teach a Bible story again.
Yeah.
And don't really get deep with it. It's like Jonah got swallowed by a fish because he disobeyed God. He got spit out. He still didn't like it, but blah, blah, blah. But there's a whole lot more to that story, in other words. And I guess my point is, I don't know how we're so blessed right now, but we are with the youth group that we've got and the discussions we're having. And, of course, me and Lori on a trip to Fuge, I guess 2 years ago now, because we were at Fuge year before last, I guess. I don't know how you say that, but we've been back since. But that year, we just started telling them, hey, we're open, ask us any questions, because we'd been asking them a lot of questions. Yeah. And I have to say that's kind of when it changed the dynamics of our group some, but we had to build that
trust and camaraderie,
trust
and everything.
Anything's open, we'll discuss it. But it's what led to these lessons of dealing with, like, we're all experiencing this, but we didn't know it. And so, like I said, back in my youth ministry, I don't remember these kind of conversations we're having, these lessons, and yet every day we're facing this stuff. Yeah. Our speech, our conduct, our love, our purity, and it's just good to be, well, even as youth leaders and with the youth, to be in this place where we're able to openly talk about it, and hopefully our prayer is that it's helping our young people.
Yeah. You give
every day at school, they're getting more help to deal with life today than what we did sometimes, or at least I did growing up.
I think that's a big point too. They have the opportunity to talk about it, and we talked, I think every week we pretty much say it, and I made sure to make it a point last week. If you need to talk to somebody, any of us as leaders or just a friend that you're sitting with, if you need to talk to somebody, do that. Take the time to do that. Because it's important. It's important not only to have that fellowship with your friends, your neighbor, as we talked about last week, but to have that ability to be open to where if you need to talk to somebody, we're here. Not just as you know, somebody who's here to be strict on you or to tell you what you know, want to hear, but it's to be a true leader and say, hey, I'll help you in any way that I can, and we're open for you to talk to us, but we're going to be honest with you in whatever it is that we need to talk about, you know.
Well, like you said, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us are, we said. They're not. Yeah. And we're never going to be until we get home to heaven. Doesn't mean that we can't learn to live life and grow, as we're talking about growing in the upstairs. But we also have to realize that sin is present, will always be present until we're in heaven or with God. And so these struggles are going to continue to come up. So it's the only way to make it through is to have this community where you can discuss it and be honest, say, I'm not doing so good right now, or I'm struggling with this. And we've had some of those questions where, you know, we've understood the heart of the kids. Hey, how do you deal with this? And it's like, sometimes like you said, you have to be honest. Say, there's not much you can do on that, but pray, or here's what you got to do. And you don't want to probably hear that, but this is what you got to do.
I think probably one of the deepest things I heard, it's been a number of years ago, and I never really thought about this, and I'll say it on here to kind of open that up and make it known. But, we think the only people that are preaching are us, our preachers that are preaching on God.
Right.
And at the same exact time, the devil's preaching too a completely different song, that you're cursed and you're going astray, right? He's preaching all of those things over us, and we're trying to make sure that it's like, no, we're not listening to that. We're trying to teach you the truth of what God has called us to teach you. And
that person that wants to see you destroyed, Satan in this case, is never going to give up.
Yeah.
So that's why you need that.
That's
help
why you constantly,
every day, and you'll come back to it again and again. So
because it's easy to just fall into, I'll read my Bible tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. It just, you kind of keep stretching it out, and if you're not surrounding yourself in that Word, you will be surrounded by the world, and those are two completely different things. And I think really when your eyes start to open up to that and you start to realize it, that's when you go, oh wow, I really do need to find myself closer and work on my conduct, work on my speech, work on my love, work on being pure, and all of these things in Christ's image at the same time. Yeah,
now that we're learning it all sometimes, and like me and you and Noah, Lord and Grace, us as leaders, we sometimes may have to look at each other and say, you're kind of getting a little bit out of whack now.
Straighten up.
And we have to do that with the kids sometimes, but they have to do that with each other sometimes.
Exactly. That's normal. It's normal and that's the good thing about being close to, is you have that friendship and that ability to say, hey, all right, let's get back after it. Like Noah and I, we talk about this every week, is we try to keep each other accountable with it. I've been real lax this week about it because I know he's busy. I don't want to bug him too much. We're about to call him here in a minute. I don't want to bug him too much, while he's gone, because I know that he's working. He's got some stuff that he's doing. But we try to keep each other accountable with.
I was in banking 11.5 years, so I don't know exactly what school he's going through, but some of that can be stressful days.
I was kind of picking on him. I was like, I never thought you'd have to go back to school to count money again. Yeah. Didn't we learn that early on in school?
A little bit more to it than that.
Yeah, but a lot more to it. But I think this week was a great lesson, and I love how everything's kind of tying itself in a bow as we come to the end of it, because everything in the end ties together, all of it. That's the reason the entire verse is put together the way that it is.
So we're just kind of having a good week. Like I said earlier, we've had a good week, a busy week, awesome week.
Yeah.
Exciting week.
We fixing to raise the meter to Aquafina. I need her.
All right, so like I told you guys, we're gonna call Noah. We're gonna see if we can get Noah on here and see how
Noah's up to.
See how
Noah's been gone. Noah's missed the construction.
Noah has missed so much.
Of course, he will say that's my fault for when I planned it.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know if it's a bad thing or he's lucky for it to be that way.
Oh.
Noah,
what's going on?
What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man.
Hey, it's the Growing Upstairs podcast with your host Holden and
Gramps, because you're not here.
Man.
We're just talking about how you missed all this construction and stuff we've been doing this week. Nice way to plan that, Noah.
Oh my goodness, I know it. I dodged having to help with the construction, didn't I?
You dodged the construction. You dodged one lesson. But otherwise, everything's going well. Which, to your credit, we'll back you up a little bit. Like Gramps said at the start of this thing, we put like 3 months worth of construction in 3 days, so it wasn't really your fault.
That's right.
And I tell you, I saw the pictures y'all were sending in our leader group chat, and I was impressed with how fast y'all got everything done.
I think we were too.
Yeah, but we almost did not get it in the nick of time today. It's been a whew. But it was great. Sorry you missed that too.
I know it.
We're excited to have you back next week when you come back, Noah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I hate I had to miss this week.
I'm excited for you to get to see the upstairs too, which credit out to old Randy, because without him, me and Gramps probably would have given out much sooner than we did on Monday.
We would have had a disappointing night. We would have had said we didn't quite make it.
We'd have had half of it done at least. Of course, I'm sure we'd have probably found a way to get it done. That's how determined we were, because I know on Monday we were talking to Randy and Lori and Grace, And we were like, this wall is coming down today. And they kind of looked at it and they were like, it ain't coming down today. It came down that day. Luckily, like I said.
Were y'all able to get all of the cinder blocks moved?
They're all in a dumpster on the sidewalk right now.
Wow.
Awesome, man.
Well, that's awesome.
Gramps and I, when we finish this here in just a minute, we wanted to call you and make sure we check up with you. We're going to go and throw the last of the ceiling tiles down in the old dumpster, and it's going to be a done deal.
It's going to be hauled off tomorrow.
At least for that side of it.
Well,
I'm sure when I walk in for the first time and see it, it's going to be kind of mind-blowing.
It is. It really is. You know, we've looked at it at a couple of different angles and been like, yeah. But, man, until that wall came out, it really just didn't – you really weren't 100% sure. And now that it's gone and couches are where those other rooms, it's been exciting to see how the kids looked at it today.
Yeah, and I knew you had we knew you had banking school and hate you had to miss all that. But, yeah, it was pretty awesome watching the kids come in. And they kind of, like Holden said, they kind of had gotten the drift. And, of course, people coming by seeing the dumpster, the blocks, they kind of all began to know we were doing it. But, again, I don't think they knew from Sunday being in Sunday school with their old room just like it was before, and then all of a sudden coming back 2 days later and seeing the whole thing, I think still took them a little bit by surprise. So,
yeah, well, I know the pictures probably don't do it justice, but it does look it looks natural. It looks like the room was made that way.
That's right. And now we get to see your reaction when you come in for the same thing.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Noah, tell us, how's your week been since we hadn't been able to ask you? How's the week been going at banking school, getting to learn how to count money all over again?
That's right. Hey, it's been good, really good. Learned a lot about lending and a little bit about tax returns and stuff, stuff that bankers look at all day, every day.
Yeah.
So it's been really good to get a little bit of that experience and learn. And it's been a good couple of days. Have my last day tomorrow, and we'll head on back to the big city of Camilla.
There you go. I know it's got to be at least a little bit fun, because anytime I've taken, even if it's a small trip not far from home, being away from home does kind of stink a little bit, but it's also kind of fun to have fellowship with some new people that you've never met, some people that you do know, and then just learning new stuff too. It can be kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's just bad. Bad for us, Holden, because what he's learning is how not to lend us money.
Right.
I told.
But yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Noah.
No, I was just going to say it's been a really good week of learning. I've definitely learned a lot of good things, a lot of things I can take back for work at the bank, and can apply to work to really help me, know what I'm doing when it comes to lending. And it's been really exciting. Met some people from around the state that are doing the same thing I'm doing, and kind of learning from them as well and their experience. So it's been good.
It's always a good thing getting to work together.
So, main question. So we've been learning 1 Timothy 4:12.
Right.
So were you an example this week in speech, conduct, love?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10. Man. I'd say it's been pretty good. It's like an 8 or so.
That's good. That's good. You didn't 100%. I just thought about something. Gramps, we're going to have to go downstairs and grab one cinder block, carry it back upstairs, put it in place, and one ceiling tile and put it back in place. So when Noah gets here, he can help at least a little bit to say, yeah, I took that out of there.
That's right.
And just to save it for him. Well, Noah, I just wanted to call and check in with you. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us for a little bit. Like I said, I know you're busy. Try not to bug you too much, but I did ask everybody when we were eating earlier, you guys miss Noah? And they were like, yeah, we miss Noah.
We've missed you tonight. Well, we've missed you this week.
Well, I've definitely missed y'all too. I missed all the kids tonight and getting to see their reaction, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting back up there next Wednesday and having another week in the upstairs.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, me and Noah's playing tag team. He's coming back. I'm going.
I guess when you come back,
a couple of weeks.
I guess when you come back, I'll have to peace out for a week or two, huh?
Maybe.
We'll just all take turns. We'll rotate a week. I don't know.
Well, hey, definitely leave me that cinder block and that ceiling tile. I got to say, at least help with something.
Yeah, I've got to tell you, I really don't want to take a week off. I enjoy everything that we do so much. Like Wednesdays is a day that I look forward to. Like I'm excited. I understand for you because like you're here all day, every day, all the time with a bunch going on.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, to be honest, like y'all cutting up with me about you're going to still stop by on Wednesday. I'm like, no, I want to. I really, it's the first time in my life, but as I kind of explained to the youth and even with y'all some, but you know, the youth is part of mine. We're in a transition period, but there's just so many things that go on at the church that a lot of people don't realize. It's administrative, it's just stuff, but it's people, their lives. It's just a nonstop. As long as you're on duty here, there's going to be a question. There's going to be a concern. There's going to be a need. And pretty much been doing it for 7 years. Usually just take a week here and a week there. But this time I kind of saved them up, and I just, as much as I love everybody and love y'all and love the kids, I'm going to miss you. But it's just, I'm at a place where I just need a few weeks that I don't have to be the one making the decisions.
That's right. Well, definitely enjoy your vacation and your time, Gramps, and you'll be leaving it in pretty good hands.
Maybe I come back, I'll be hyped without 4 Mountain Dews and a Texas honey.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that. Well, Noah, like I said, I appreciate you coming on here for a little bit. I'll be excited to have you back live next week, and you'll have you got some big shoes to fill over here. Gramps has been doing all right in this thing.
He might end up taking my spot.
Oh, I think I'm going to let y'all keep it. I'll be your guest. I'll fill in when you're gone, but.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate.
I think y'all do a great job.
Well, thank you. But I appreciate you calling me and y'all letting me talk and holler at y'all for a few minutes. And I reckon we'll get back to Linden class tomorrow and finish that up, and I'll be back in Camilla. And y'all definitely just keep growing upstairs, right, Holden?
That's right. That sounds good. Well, Noah, we appreciate it again. Look forward to seeing you next week, buddy.
All right. See y'all later.
See ya.
Bye.
Man, how fun is that?
Great.
How fun is that to have Noah on? Gramps, do you have any dad jokes?
I do not.
You don't have any dad jokes?
No, not especially not this quick of notice.
So I had one told to me last week. It's not a Christian dad joke, but it is a dad joke, and it's a longer one. So I'm not going to end with this one. I'm going to end with a little bit of a different one. But here's the longer one. I'm just going to tell you, okay? A beekeeper went to pick up 12 bees from a house. When he got back home, he realized he had 13. So he called the guy, and that guy told him, "Oh, no, that's okay. That's a freebie." I need a sound effect just for that. Just for that is what I need a sound for. There you go. A bee slapper or a knee slapper? A knee slapper. Well, do you have anything that you want to say before we get closed up here with the final dad joke that'll take us out?
I'm going to let you close us out with the dad joke.
Close us out. Well, first of all, you guys, if you want to follow us over on the Instagram at GrowingUpstairs. Noah did ask you guys some questions for story time on the channel this week. We're gonna save them for next week because Noah knows these stories better than I do. So if you guys wrote in this week, don't worry, we'll talk about them next week on story time, and make sure that you guys read them in to us next week as well. So let's get to it. What is Jesus's favorite nursery song?
I don't know.
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Oh, I should have known that one.
Anyways, you guys, we'll check in with you guys next week. You guys just keep growing upstairs.